My name is Rahul. My teaching philosophy is I know education is where I can have the greatest impact. I want my students to understand that the professional world they'll be inhabit. The school is not immutable. As future teachers, they can make a difference and their classrooms can be healthy, supportive environments in which their own students can grow and learn. Thus, my students need opportunities to collaborate with each other as well as with me to learn and gain expertise about the act of teaching. An effective teacher is like the wizard who must help with each individual and appreciate the potential that resides within all of us. The potential to make the rest and best use of our minds, our hearts, and those behaviors that can make the world a better place. I believe the accepting responsibility for learning does not occur in a vacuum. It also involves those who their work. I develop a sense of community in humor in classes. As members of that community, the students are responsibility in not only themselves but to each other members of the community, including me. My personal teaching philosophy includes treating all the students with absolute equality, regardless of age, gender, nationality, intellectual ability, or personal attractiveness, making it clear that I am always available on request and living up to this by devoting time to personal tuition on demand. I make it my business to try to understand the students' point of view, however, awareness before attempting to give them my own. This means that when I do teach, I can choose a conceptual path that leads from the students' current understanding to a broader or more conventional one. The students the students in my classes know this and to ask me for help in the other subjects. I do and I try to set a good professional example in written solution and in conversation by always referring everything back to the standards of the engineering industry, where a single error could lead to tremendous expense or even loss of life. Enthusiasm is critical to good teaching, and students have a sixth sense for it. And my subject is mathematics, so I please explain about my philosophy in teaching of mathematics. I base my teaching on the belief that the only way to learn mathematics is to do mathematics, while the process of reading examples and proofs in textbooks and from lecture notes invaluable. The real learning comes through one's own efforts at solving mathematical problems, either computational, theoretical, or both. This is achieved mostly through class assignments, but also through in-class discussions and etc. And I view my role as a facilitator for this process. I must design the framework in which learning can take place and then stimulate and nurture the students' development, giving help in terms of knowledge, techniques, and encouragement. My goals in teaching are not just to promote learning of subject matter, I also try to help the students learn to think logically, learn problem solving methods and techniques, and improve writing skills and all the necessary things, etc. In addition, I try to help students see the course material a holistic context by requiring them to synthesize the various concepts of the course by applying them together. And let me extend my discussion regarding my teaching philosophy. The diverse backgrounds of my students enable them to bring to my classroom a variety of ideas relating to the class material. I want my students to feel that my classroom is a discussion room where they can share their ideas about the subject matter and contribute to the educational experience. On the first day of class, I ask each other student to fill out an individual information sheet. I use this information to learn about my students. And let me explain and let me conclude the concept of teaching philosophy with learning environment. As an instructor, I have the responsibility to help my students learn how to learn. I hope to inspire my students with a desire to learn more on their own. I encourage students to make and take advantage of resources other than standard course materials and lecturers. For example, if I assign a project with required interaction with the World Wide Web, electronic mail, and other internet related sources, by doing so, I have to show my students the tremendous availability of resources to use in learning about almost any subject matter they are studying. I expect my subjects to take individual responsibility for their education by coming prepared to participate in class. To encourage student participation, I use active learning techniques to draw individual into class discussions. During class meeting, I ask students questions and their answers, responses as a foundation for the concepts to be delivered and covered in the class period. In addition, I am to redirect questions posed by students in the class to other students. By using active learning techniques, I hope to help my students. And let me go for the next topic called fundamental concepts and the key components of lesson plan. There are four key components of lesson plan, which are instructional objectives, teaching activities and strategies, assessment materials. The very first topic is instructional objectives. These instructional objectives are specific and create a clear lesson plan focus. In classes with high percentage of ELS, list language objectives, as well as the subject's content objectives. Standards from the curriculum frameworks are much more global and usually represent long range objectives. It is common practice to visually post the lesson focus. Objectives in the same spot in the classroom for students to see daily. Many teachers also the standards which they are maintaining and displaying in the classrooms. The very second point in the lesson plan, in the components of lesson plan, is teaching activities and strategies. These should be back to and support your objectives. These are planned events and interactions that will take place during the 45 minutes of instruction to support achievement of the objectives. These include specific instruction techniques such as demonstration, pair shares, pre-scripted questions, problems for students to solve, tasks to work on. This section done in outline of 2 to 3 minutes in useful way. So let me go for the next topic in the key components of lesson plan, that is assessment. It include in class during instruction assessments such as oral questioning, moving about and observing students in work groups, collecting summary paragraphs or program sheets at close of lesson. There will also be longer range assessment. If appropriate homework is being taken place, then the lesson plan should include instructional assessment for the 45 minutes plan. So let me go for the next topic of lesson plan components, that is materials. It includes resources and materials needed to carry out the lesson: handouts, video player, blank transcriptors, maps, lag equipments, etc. Then let me explain about the design of a lesson plan. It has three various parts. One is about the title. One is about the title. You know already, title give us your lesson name. The next part of the lesson designing is lesson plan is format. It designs the lesson thoroughly and completely according to the format. Four components at a lesson plan. We have studied glance and your lesson plan. So the next part of the designing of lesson plan is criteria. Criteria goes with the completeness of lesson and quality of instructional objectives, match between learning activities, presence of hook and launch activity, appropriate variety of activities, and etc. So in this way we have as many concepts which includes in the designing of lesson plan. Generally what we know, to make a student to understand, to make a student to expertise, to make a student to feel humorous and all those. So we need to go for all these things. And in preparation of a lesson plan, mainly we need to make a student, a children in the classroom to be attractive, to be emphasized, to be concentrated towards a teacher what he or she is explaining. So let me share with you an experience regarding in my teaching career of 8 years, how I made the students life with my teaching attitude, with my teaching behavior in differential mode, how I got the experience, how I have changed. So that is in my path of teaching, with my expression and with my discussions, in my motivation, with my counseling, according to my class observation, if I what I have been done with my students, immediately with my motivation and also with my subject, students have been taken up into the concentrated mode, and many of the students are going in successful mode. They have been traveled into IITs, engineering levels, medicine levels, and whenever they meet me, they recognize the share of experience what they had. So it is the end of my video which I explain about my teaching philosophy and lesson plan and experience of students daily. So thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you.